What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and today we're here to talk about the new Super Evolution, Barto and Cavendish. So many of you guys would already know that this is the Super Evolution. The information is now public, of course, and I was having a lot of travels, obviously, throughout the last couple of days from my trip from the United States, so I appreciate everyone's patience in regards to that matter. But we're here to finally talk about Barto and Cavendish. That's the most important thing today, because the recent Super Evolutions have been really good, so we're hoping that this guy's able to follow suit, as, you know, these dual unit Super Evolutions are characters that we want to see receiving these buffs, right? As they're really old, and they need to be more modernized, and luckily that's exactly what we get here. But before we actually get into the breakdown of what the Super Evolution of Barto and Cavendish is all about, I do want to talk about like what the actual base character, you know, looks like, what the current version of Barto and Cavendish actually entails. So Barto and Cavendish are obviously driven focused. Most people already know that. You've got the solo form of Barto, which is very bare bones, 3.25 times attack and 25% damage reduction during the turn that you don't attack with him. So it's a very unique mechanic, not too many characters have it. I know like Legend Shirahoshi has a very similar effect to this. So if you don't attack with Barto, you get damage reduction, is basically how it works. When you switch it over to Cavendish, it's basically a flipped version of that, where Barto is more defensively focused. You got Cavendish, which is more offensively focused, giving himself a 3.75 times attack boost and still providing 3.25 times attack to Driven, and then their combined form being 4.25 times attack, strength, quick, dex matching, and 25% damage reduction. So yeah, obviously needs a bit of an update. The special ability, AoE damage and damage threshold on your side of the field, so you can tank damage, and then a 2.25 times attack boost for one turn for your driven units, and then the swap effect, of course, of this unit, giving them self a matching slot, giving themselves a 1.5 all boost, 5% heal to the crew, and 25% damage reduction. And that damage reduction obviously stacks with Barto's captain effect, as the Barto captain effect doesn't put a buff on your crew. It's just an innate effect that activates. So you can actually stack it up quite well, where you can have this switch effect. Obviously you can have Barto with his damage reduction as a captain, and then you could have the special as well, providing even more damage reduction. So you can just tank a lot of hits with this character, as well as deal damage back, which is kind of cool, right? That's pretty much the breakdown of the unit. There's actually really not a lot to talk about. This character didn't have many gimmicks, but back when this character first came out, remember, this was the time where we're still getting training forests. Garp challenges obviously were still coming out as well, which meant that this character was really good for those types of content. Long form content where you had to take a lot of time to actually clear the content. This guy was very good for that, being able to tank a lot of damage, providing healing mechanics. The switch effect was so good that you could literally use it on teams where this character wasn't boosted, just to get the beneficial effects of stalling, right, with this character. And of course, their special providing a threshold on your team to basically tank most death hits in the game, which is so good. The only real bad thing I'd say, just looking at it straight up, is that 2 of their 3 potential abilities are damage reduction, which is really bad. They're just terrible. He does have slot bind that does completely remove it, so that's kind of cool, but the other 2 are just god awful. So let's go ahead and talk about the Super Evolution of Barto and Cavendish. So we can actually go over to the news post, because the news post will have both variations of Barto Cavendish with level limit break and without, I believe. So we can check the information here. Remember, this is coming out with the Kizuna, so you want to be farming the Kizuna to get the skulls, of course. So here we have Barto and Cavendish, and yes, so this is their normal version that you'll get just from regular Super Evolution. So we'll look at both forms with level limit break and also the form without it. So as soon as you super evolve the character, this is what you're going to get. You got Barto, Dex, Driven Striker, Captain, 4.5 attack to Driven, 1.2 health, Dexa matching, 30% damage reduction in turns where you do not attack. So it's, again, pretty much the same captain, but slightly better. Now adding an additional matching slot to the crew, additional HP boost, and more damage reduction. It's fine. It's nothing amazing though, I'll admit. You've got Hakuba now. It's not Cavendish, it's Hakuba. His captain, 4.5 attack, 1.2 HP, quick slots are matching, and 4.75 times attack to himself. Again, pretty basic. The combined captain, 5 times attack, 1.2 health, strength, quick, and dex are matching, 30% damage reduction. Like, the bare bones Super Evolution of this unit is actually, like, just from the captain alone, is very bad, in my opinion. This is just not good enough. Now, I do know that with the level limit break, this does get updated, but this version of the unit is just not stacking up very well in my opinion. You've got the special ability, which is very important. 6 turn removal of damage threshold. That is amazing. Just adding an awesome piece of utility. 100 times their attack in typeless damage to all enemies. Massively reduced damage, so it's a damage threshold on your side of the field, and it's 3,000 or more. So before it was 5,000 damage or more, but now it's 3,000 damage, so you can just tank more damage, which is great. Driven characters receive a 2.5 times attack boost, which was upgraded, and if the crew has an orb boost when you launch the special, it will further increase your slot effect boost by 0.25. That's very cool. Of course, as we know, with the switch effect of this unit, you can generate an orb boost. So the special of this unit is able to buff that and become Barto and Hakuba for 3 turns. Okay, so I think the special, if you're just looking at the bare bones evolution, is actually still pretty good. That's not a bad special by any means. And while yes, this character does have an orb boosting effect in their own right with their switch effect, this could just, you can apply this on any orb boost that you have. If you have a more significant orb boost you want to apply, you can just buff that one as well. So it's kind of cool. Let's have a look at the swap effects of this unit. Of course, getting access to a super swap is very cool. So the base switch, matching slot to themselves, 2 times orb boost to themselves for 1 turn. So that was actually buffed from a 1.5 orb boost to themselves. So that's nice. 5% heal and 25% damage reduction. Pretty much the same. But then a super swap after 5 switches. And it gives all driven characters matching slots. Driven get a 2 times orb boost for 1 turn. 10% heal, 50% damage reduction. Now this is much better, of course, because you can use that super switch, full board of slots, you have the special that can buff the orb boost to be a 2.25 orb boost, and you have a 2.5 attack boost. It's a pretty good effect, honestly. The super swap plus the special is a really nice combination. But as we said, the bare bones effect right here is not that great. I'm more interested to see what the level limit break is going to give to this unit. So at level limit break 5, you get a lot more going on. So the captain will now give you -1 cooldown to driven characters. You now get a 5.25 times attack, which was buffed from 5 times, of course. And then boosts their own attack by 5.5. Okay, so they themselves will have more damage as well. Makes strength, quick, dex, recovery, and tandem slots beneficial to driven. That's kind of absurd. So every natural slot is matching except for sign int, which is pretty good. 30% damage reduction, heal 0.5 this character's recovery for every perfect that you hit. When the crew launches a special to apply damage reduction, except threshold, converts that effect to boost crew's attack based on the amount of damage reduced, regardless of the effective turns of the converted effect. So this is really cool. This is really neat, where this is now stacking the ability of Versus Yamato, right? And Versus Yamato is a really new character in the game, obviously debuted on New Year's. So the fact that this new Super Evolution is getting access to a new mechanic that came out only a few months ago is pretty absurd, actually. But this is activated in their captain. So anytime you have a special on your crew that says reduce damage taken by X%, that is now changed with this character in their dual captain at least, to become a % damage reduction attack boost. So that's really cool, right? Now, from what we can tell, like if you have an effect that reduces damage by 5% or reduce damage by 90%, it should always just convert it to a % damage reduction attack boost. Now, it doesn't mean that, you know, if you have a special that reduces damage by 90%, it doesn't automatically mean you get a 90% 1.5 times damage reduction effect or 1.9 times damage reduction effect, because the way that I think it's supposed to work is you have a damage reduction special on your crew, it gets converted to % damage reduction attack boost, and then you use their switch effect to provide a damage reduction which will allow you to proc the actual buff that you get from their captain, right? It's very convoluted, but it basically means that you can get another additional stack of buffs on top of it. We've already talked about it. This character can provide an orb boost, it can provide an attack boost, and now potentially can provide a % damage reduction based attack boost as well, all in one character. Let's have a look at the solo captains though. So the solo captains, no, that's a super switch. The solo captains don't have that effect. Interesting. So still -1 cooldown, 4.75 times attack, dex, recovery, tandem matching, still the damage reduction. And then you've got Hakuba, -1 cooldown, 5.25 times attack to himself, quick recovery, tandem matching. So they only get the % damage reduction in their dual form. So you have to be very careful about that then. You got to make sure that you have used their special beforehand to ensure that you actually have that. But it is kind of interesting as well, right? Because that means that if you use their special to make their captain in the dual form, you can't use their switch to get the damage reduction effect to activate. So I wonder, if you have 2 damage reduction specials on your crew, do they both override each other? Or if you already have a % damage reduction attack boost, will one of them still be a damage reduction? It's very convoluted. We don't know exactly how it works, but it really comes down to the order of operations of your specials, because that can really turn the tides of how optimally you're getting damage off with this character. Let's have a look at what the special does. So the special looks to have changed a little bit. So 6 turns of threshold removal, AoE damage, nullifies damage over 3,000. Oh, it actually just nullifies it. That's interesting. I didn't actually notice that before. So anything that is over 3,000 is just straight up nullified completely. A lot of the time it's like it reduces it by a certain percentage, but this just says nullifies damage. Oh, but it says nullifies a portion, so I'm not too sure. It's very, very weirdly worded. 2.5 attack. If the crew has an orb boost when you launch the special, you buff it by 0.25. If damage received from the enemy exceeds 30,000 when you launch the special, boosts color affinity of driven by 2.25 for 1 turn. Wow, okay. That's kind of wild. So this character can provide attack boost, orb boost, color affinity, % damage reduction based attack boost. I mean, it is kind of like in one unit, but you still need a special on your crew that can actually provide the Rainbow Shield that gets transformed into Rainbow Shield attack boost. So it's like pseudo one character providing all of those units, but you do kind of need a special that does a certain thing to activate that additional buff. Nonetheless, I think that's actually a really, really cool way that they've made this character into a super evolution, where this character can provide so many different buffs in one unit, and not each individual buff being so absurd, right? Like, it's not like a 3 times attack, 3 times orb boost, 3 times color affinity, like what you see in modern day units that release, but it's like providing a lot of buffs with one special is kind of crazy, right? Like 2.5 attack, 2.25 color affinity, 2.25 orb boost, potentially a 1.5% damage reduction based attack boost. A lot of really cool stuff here. I like it. I think this character is very cool. This is not a character that I'm going to use that much personally. I don't really use driven teams that much just in general, but I like what they've done here, and I think that this has potential to see a lot of play in maybe super bosses moving forward. We'll have to wait and see how things go. But we actually haven't had a look at their Rumble kit. So the Rumble ability gives buffs to Driven and Slasher characters now. They receive level 4 defense, level 8 attack to themselves, and then Powerhouse enemies get defense down level 5. I love that. That's really cool. 28 CT does a large horizontal range 3.2 times damage. That's actually a lot. And then Driven and Slasher teammates get guard up level 7, attack up level 8. For 30 seconds. It is unfortunate that the attack buff doesn't go before the damage that this character does, but it's actually pretty good. 250 interval heal and 40% damage reduction from powerhouse enemies. This is a character that could definitely see play. I know that people have been opting to use like defensive style slasher teams recently, and this could be a character that you could actually use. That really good effect to provide additional defense to slashers is really good, because slashers don't have a lot of innate defense relating abilities. And I know that the new super evolution to CatDog and Shank's crew, and now this, all innately buff slashers in Rumble, which is kind of cool. Slashers are actually really, really scary to come up against in Rumble, and this character just adds to that. So in Rumble, I think they're good. They could definitely see play for sure. And in normal content, I think that they've provided a really good array of buffs to this unit to be used in some unique ways, as we said, you know, providing so many different buffs in one special. And we saw that with CatDog, and I still think CatDog is by far and away the best super evolution that we've ever received, just because of how many different buffs that character can do, on top of also being a speed farm captain. So that character is just insane. I don't think that this character comes close to CatDog, but this character is very good, and this character will see play moving forward. But that's my breakdown of Barto and Cavendish and their super evolution. So let me know down below in the comment section, what do you guys think about this character and their super evolution? Because I actually think it's pretty good. I think it's better than Shank's crew, at least more impressive than Shank's crew, because I just feel like we should have got a little bit more with that character. But I like what they've done here. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video. If you guys did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. And that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.